Today we want to talk about sleep and Yoganidra. The first thing is that really no one has a real answer of why man dreams and of course sleep, right? So animals sleep but they don't dream. Now science says that we sleep to renew the cells of the body, to heal the body. Shastra says that we sleep to integrate memory. And when there are a couple of texts which do talk about dream. One is the Aranya Upanishad, where there is a conversation between the king Janak and Yoganidra. And then it seems that the Tibetan yogis, they took everything from India and then they really expanded upon it. So the real dream yoga which today's science is following, most of the dream scientists, the background they are using is Tibetan yoga. Now, science can only record dreams in what we call is REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. But once we go into deeper levels of sleep, the question arises that do we dream or do we not dream? Are there no dreams in that state? The Upanishads talk about different levels of dream. And the first level is what today science is exploring. And that is the dream which happens in REM sleep. But they talk about different levels of dreams. And they say like there is the physical body. And the physical body has a brain where in sleep memory is integrated in the brain. Similarly, we have a subtle body, and there are dreams of the subtle body. Beyond the subtle body, what we call as Atma, the divine fragment, it is wrapped in a kind of bag, sort of. And that bag is called as the causal body. So we talk of physical body, we talk of astral body, and we talk of the causal body. That bag is a translucent bag, it isn't a transparent bag. So people get glimpses of the light which comes out of the translucent bag. When they say that they have had a what we call vision of light or something of that sort. So there are dreams of the causal body. And in the Yoga Sutra there is one what you call Sutra of Patanjali, there where he says that you can achieve that state of yoga, the union between Shiva and Shakti, the state of self-realization, through the knowledge gained from dreams. So today, I'm just going to go into this a little bit. We won't go very deep into it. This is what you wanted. right? This is what you wanted to talk about, right? Okay. Now, what do we mean by memory integration? So we talk about the dreams that happen in the early part of the night. And two things are happening here. Everything is getting balanced out. Supposing I've had a fight with you in the daytime, and I'm carrying that memory into sleep, and that memory has to be integrated with memories of similar kind in sleep. And so something balances before that memory integrates. Maybe I give it back to you or whatever. Something balances in the dream, and it balances so that that memory, it doesn't act as a pus cell or something, feeding poison into the body, right? So all the memories get integrated in this way, different memories of different kind, and we can say that, supposing I go to Mumbai, and you ask me that, what did you do on your trip to Mumbai? And supposing I say I went to bookstores and I went to libraries, so it would be an intellectual kind of memory which would get integrated in that way. But maybe I say that, oh, I went to so many good restaurants and had such good food. So it would be a kind of what you call instinctive kind of memory connected with the instinctive center. So it would get integrated that way. Or I'd say I met all my relations and my old friends. So it would be an emotional kind of memory. So this kind of memory integration is happening in sleep, and it's not something which science has been able to as yet catch up with. Of course, science says we sleep because we want to boost our immune system and to prevent disease. And they say a lot of repair work happens in the brain during sleep. And there's a lot of flushing out of toxins. Ayurveda says that the 5 elements balance during sleep. And this is very important as far as healing of the body goes. So when these 5 elements are out of balance, so if we say the fire element is out of balance, let's say you've got a fever or something, or if the water element is out of balance, then I'll say maybe you have diarrhea or something of that. So, right? When the earth element is out of balance, we see the earth color, the yellow eyes in jaundice. So there is a balancing of the 5 elements. One thing which is very important over here is because there's a balancing of the elements. If we practice any form of mantra yoga before going to sleep, right? So if we are practicing some mantra at that time, then that mantra itself activates the, what you call, larynx. And the larynx plays a very big role in balancing the 5 elements in the body. If you see the construction of the larynx, it is made of cartilage. And each cartilage is in pairs. So the first cartilage in the larynx is like square. So it represents the earth element, Prithvi Tattva. The second cartilage is also a pair, it is crescent. And so it represents the water element. The third, what you call cartilage, is triangular in shape. And so that symbolizes the fire element. The fourth pair is cylindrical in shape, so it symbolizes the wind element, what we call Vayu. And the fifth cartilage is single, it is not in a pair, and it is what you call round in shape, symbolizing the prana or the sky element, what we call as Akash Tattva. Now, like we said, talked about it in the morning, that there is a difference between sleeping and resting. And this must be properly understood. Many people sleep a lot, they rest a little. So when they wake up, they are more tired than when they went to sleep. Right? And many people have to sleep very little, but in that very less amount of sleep, they can extract a big amount of rest. Right? So we can't just say that somebody needs so many hours of sleep. It cannot be what you call general supposition, in the sense that somebody may have the power to extract much more rest from less sleep. Now, this sorting of memory, it happens between painful and not painful. So some memories are painful, and those memories have to be transformed, because if we keep on holding on to pain in the body-brain system, it is going to lead to disease. Now, the beauty of a dream is that time changes in a dream. Time changes in a dream, and if we have practiced moving in reverse time, right? And if we have practiced that moving in reverse time, that is, if before you go to bed at night, if you have practiced going through the main events of the day, so you will go backward from the time you went into bed into what you did in the morning. And for a person who is moving on the path of consciousness, he has to practice this in two ways. One is the outer events, right? So I'll say, okay, I had cheese toast for breakfast, so I go back and I say, okay, I had cheese toast for breakfast or something, right? But what was I thinking of when I had breakfast? And our inner world is in total darkness. If I ask you what you were thinking 5 minutes ago, no one remembers. Leave alone what you were thinking early in the morning. So we remember outer events, we don't remember inner events. Our memory of inner events is totally zero. Right? So when we go back in reverse time, when we are going to sleep, I don't know if many years ago there was a very famous book. It was 1,000 Moons. It was Krishnamurti at 86. And Krishnamurti at 86 years old, he's saying that when I go to bed at night, I go through the events of the day. I go through the events of the day. And if any correction has to be made, I make the correction there. Right? So then there's no necessity for the correction in the dreams. So if we can practice this going back in reverse time, and we practice in two directions, what were we thinking, what were we feeling, and of course the events are very easy. You'll remember what you had for lunch, whether you had a biscuit with tea or something of that sort, whom you phoned, what you did in the day. Now, why is this important to practice this every day? Going back. Why is it important?
Because at the time of death, there's reverse
Right.
time.
Because at the time of death, life unwinds. The key of life unwinds at the time of death. So we feel, because we are so attached to the body, and the only reality we can see is that of the body, We say an old man dies. An old man does not die. It is a young child which dies. So there is the whole of life reverses in reverse time. And that happens in the last 3 minutes before death. So if we have practiced this every day, then in those last 3 minutes, and we all may have, in certain important milestones in our life, made some decisions which we did not want to make, right? And we would like to change those decisions. So those milestones will repeat at the moment of death, and if we have practiced this, then this is the beginning of conscious sleep as a practice for conscious death. Right? So we are changing things there. Also, when it is rewinding in dream time. Now, we have to understand dream time. Dream time is a kind of imaginary creation. I don't know if you had seen in the old movies, Hindi movies, I don't know if you see, there would be the movie would start with a young Amitabh Bachchan, 10 years old, and the police are running behind him. And then suddenly an old Amitabh Bachchan and the police are running and he's running towards you. And that gives you the effect that 20 years have passed. 20 years have not passed, only a couple of seconds have passed. Or maybe 1 minute has passed, right? But it gives you the effect that 20 years have passed. So when life rewinds, it will rewind in 3 minutes. That does not mean every incident of life. The major milestones will go in a certain way. And if you have learned to work in dream time, if you have learned to be conscious in dream time, then you can change many things in that last 3.5 minutes. Right? Okay. So now if we have practiced this every night, then it opens up different pathways in the brain which we have not normally opened up. Our present thinking is more a thinking of past to future. Right? We are more when we solve our problems, when we look at the problems of life, we are more in a kind of forward movement from past to future. Here we are creating different tracks in the brain to go from future to the past, from the present to the past. And this opens up a new form of thinking which science is using today, many psychologists, which they call as lateral thinking. Lateral thinking, right? And you know that very famous story of the lateral thinking. There was this, in ancient Greece, there was this farmer who owed a lot of money to the moneylender. And the moneylender, he could not pay the moneylender, so he didn't know what to do. So the moneylender said that there's only one thing you can do, is that you have such a beautiful daughter, you get your daughter married to me. And the daughter was young and the moneylender was very old. So the daughter said that, no, I don't want to get married to this moneylender. So the moneylender says, we'll do one thing, that if you see these stones on the ground, these pebbles on the ground, some are black and some are white, and what we'll do is we'll pick up 2 stones, one black and one white, and I'll put them in a box. And if you pick the white one, you have to marry me. And if you pick the black one, then your father's, debt is cancelled, right? Anyway, she saw that the moneylender put 2 white stones in the box instead of one black and one white stone. So she was very smart. So as she this thing took out the stone from the box, she covered it in her hand and it slipped from her hand and fell on the ground and it mixed with the other stones. You didn't know which one was black and which one was white. So she said, now what do we do? Okay, you look at the stone which is lying inside, and if that is white, definitely the one I picked was black, right? So this is what is called as lateral thinking. So and it is they have found that solving of problems, in life, coming to decisions in life, it brings a different attitude, a different perspective, sometimes which can be very, very valuable. So if you practice this moving in reverse time every night before we go to bed, it takes about 1 or 2 minutes to just go through the major events of the day. You're creating a track in the brain which can, in normal life, everyday life, help you to solve many problems. Now, yes.
You mentioned that at the time of that we are reverse walking the timeline, right?
Right.
And you said that if you're practicing every day, then you can fix things. So what are we trying to fix in that moment? I mean, you're dying or dead. So what are we trying to actually fix? Or what would we like to fix? Because we're just reverse walking the time, right?
Yeah, you're going back in reverse time.
So what are we fixing?
That you have to decide.
Okay.
Right? Supposing I took economics in college, and later on I felt in life I should not have taken economics, I should have taken English. Right? So maybe I can go to that point, and in that I visualize the decision that I'm taking English instead of economics. Time is a very, very, very deep subject. And what looks like a straight line from the past to the present to the future is not exactly a straight line. It is a circle. So time is circular in movement. Now, when we see our memory, so our memory is just an electrical current in the brain, what you call as memory. Right? And memory is being trained only to, not trained, I won't use the word, it has been habituated to only go in the past. Can you understand? It cannot see that time is a circle and that circle is being repeated all the time. That is beyond our understanding of our, what you call limited brain understanding, our senses. Unless we create new tracks in the brain which understand time in a different way. And that is why I'm giving you this exercise. Right?
So one more
Now,
question.
yeah, I'll just say one more thing and you take your question. Now, in a dream, what is the lapse between thought and action? What is the lapse between thought and action?
No lapse.
Low lapse. Right? I have a thought to meet you, but you will say, I can't meet you, I'll meet you on Wednesday. But in the dream of, I'm thinking about you, I can meet you in that very moment. You understand? So in the dream, there is no gap between the thought and the action. Right? Now, you take this the other way. The minute you say that you should go away, in the dream you go away. Right? Now, here if I tell you to go away, it says, unless you get my work done, I'm not going to go away. Can you get what I'm trying to say? So in the dream, the thought is the action. Now, how would you, when you're moving back, say you're moving back in dream time, you're moving back because you're living your whole life in 3 minutes. right? So you're moving back in dream time. So it is a dream. In a way, it is a dream. And supposing I got cancer. Now, at that moment of getting cancer, thought is action. I can change it. I don't want to carry this. You understand? So, that 3.5 minutes is a big opportunity to change many things, because again, time is going to repeat. Unless we rise to a higher level of consciousness, then time doesn't remain a circle, it becomes a spiral. The circle repeats, but we move up 1 inch and it's a spiral movement. Can you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, now you can ask. Sorry.
Maybe it is related. So when I was younger, I used to play a lot of chess.
Right.
And then, in the tournaments, you adjourn the games.
You?
Adjourn
Adjourn the games, yeah.
So whenever we used to adjourn the game, in the night I get a dream. I'm playing the whole game in the dream. Not only in the past, also in the future, right? And so I know what moves to make. So
Right.
next day I get up, I play the game, and I know what steps to take already, right? So how does that work?
So you're naturally lucid, and you must make an effort to, when we go through this, to work in your dreams. Right? You must make that effort. And you have experienced that the future is nothing but the repetition of the past. Because you have seen the moves you're going to make tomorrow. Right? So it's very important, for you at least, because you'll be able to do it in really fast speed. You must work upon it. My teacher used to play blind chess, Mr. Tavaria. And there would be a couple of friends, and the move would be on the telephone. So it would be one move per day. So if he's playing with 10 people, then in the morning all the phone calls will come, and he would give 10 different moves to 10 different games. And well, that is how he played it. He used to call it blind chess, playing blind chess. And even now, when they have the chess tournament in Sanli every summer, right? All the chess pieces, the boards, and everything have been presented by him, which they use over there. So now we got to understand that there are two kinds of sleep, REM sleep and non-REM sleep. And we want to start our practice in REM sleep. It will take a few years of practice in REM sleep to go and practice into non-REM sleep. In REM sleep, the brain is active to a certain extent. And the muscles are totally relaxed. Now, this is very important. So we have to wake up in the morning, and normally the sleep cycle repeats every 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And it also repeats in the day, but in the day we are active, we are not aware of it, but sometimes you will see in office or something that after 1.5 hours you feel like having a cup of coffee or something of that sort, and the sleep cycle is kind of repeating over there. Right? So, because the brain is active, we can gain knowledge, and the muscles are in a state of deep relaxation, so we are asleep. The body is asleep and the brain is active, and we are aware in that sleep. Now here we bring about what is called a state of sleep paralysis to induce that REM sleep. a state of sleep paralysis. So what they do in Yoganidra, the Guru gives suggestions that you are now relaxing your feet and you're relaxing this, and he makes you move through the body. In yoga, this is called a Shavayatra, where you move to the body and using your attention, you relax each part of the body, all the muscles, and a point comes where you develop what is sleep paralysis. Now, in sleep, all of us develop sleep paralysis, and this we are doing consciously in Yoga Nidra. That is the most important part of Yoga Nidra. So if you're dreaming in sleep and you're not aware of your dream, then you think it is real at that moment. And if in sleep you, what do you call I give you a cup of tea in your sleep, right, in the dream, sorry, then you take the cup and you're drinking the tea, but your hands are on the bed. Can you see? And your hands don't move up in life as if in life to take the cup of tea. So what has happened is that nature provides something which is called sleep paralysis. You understand this, right? We're in a state of sleep paralysis. And the Tibetans realize this. And they, started consciously creating a state of sleep paralysis. Now, we talked the other day that, I'm going to go back to that when you wake up in the morning, don't open your eyes. You're still in a semi-state of sleep paralysis. Go back into deep sleep paralysis. Your body is asleep, your brain will just be slightly active, and the mind will be observing the brain and body. Right? So it will be a beautiful state where you're in deep relaxation and still you're awake and aware at the same time. Thoughts have calmed down because you're just waking up in the body. There's not much formation of thought. And you're looking, the mind is looking without thought. Right? Now this is very, very important because I look at you, but my mind is full of this chatter, full of thought. And can I calm my mind and look at you? Is there a difference between the two perceptions? It's a very big difference, right? Because I'm looking at the world through thought and I'm looking at the world without thought. And when you're looking without thought, suddenly you see reality in a different perspective. So it's very important to use this state in the morning, go back into your, sleep, come back into the sleep paralysis. You can't move your hands and legs and just remain in that relaxed state, just observing, feeling. And you can then use that relaxed state, like you said, for your chessboard or whatever. You can use it for your daily activities also. You can bring something there, but initially just practice remaining in that state. So there are two types of relaxations. One relaxation which happens in REM sleep and one which happens in deep sleep where there is no REM activity. Because the brain is active, on one side there is activity and the other side the muscles are relaxed. In deep sleep the brain is inactive and the muscles are relaxed. And this is a beautiful feeling to have, a beautiful sensitivity to have, that you're still active, you're still aware, and you're in a state of very deep relaxation. So there's a temporary, paralysis of the voluntary muscles of the body. Yeah, go ahead.
So do you cross over? Some of the examples I remember, let's say in my dream I'm playing soccer. And then I kick the ball. But actually I will wake up, as if I'm kicking the ball. So I'm crossing from my dream into action in my
You wake up.
Yeah, so I wake up and I realize that I kicked.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen. You're not getting proper sleep paralysis.
Okay.
So the idea is that, to get up in the morning, do your exercises for 1 hour. Everyone is practicing the exercises. Do a little bit of mantra. So 45 minutes to 1 hour passes. Then go back to sleep. And when you go back to sleep, first move through your body. Now, I want to add one thing over here. This is a very, very powerful form of meditation. When we do this Shavyatra through the body. See, the food we eat. The food we eat, it goes into the stomach. It goes from the stomach to the intestines. Now, I'm not talking about how science sees it, but according to yoga, the first thing we extract from food is magnetism, right? So, where does this magnetism, where do we use this magnetism? Supposing an architect is designing a house, then he has to visualize that house. So, to be able to hold these thoughts together, to visualize that house, it has to be brought together by magnetism. Can you understand? So it gives us what in yoga is called as dharana shakti, the power of holding something together. Right? Then the food goes into the brain and we extract voluntary muscles, that is motor electricity. This is the energy we create thought. And then we create reflex electricity, the energy which creates emotion. And then the food goes right down. And the final extraction from food is what we call as sex energy. Yeah, this is the finest energy which normal man has, which is extracted from food. Now, according to our Shastra, there are 3 forms of sex energy. The lowest they call as Shukra. The astral part of sex energy, this is the physical part. So when you're having sex, what is it? The Shukra, the physical part of sex energy. The astral part of sex energy is called as Virya. And the spiritual part of sex energy is called as Ojas. Ojas means light. Now, when you're inducing sleep paralysis in the body, you're lying on the bed, you may be lying on the side, whatever. Don't lie on the left side. If you want to turn on the side, turn on the right side. Right? Now, you're creating sleep paralysis throughout the body. And slowly you come to a state where the hands and legs and everything is paralyzed. If you can run your attention 30 times through the body, 30 rounds through the body, that food which you have eaten yesterday, that sex energy gets transformed into light, into a higher form of sex energy. And that is why this is a very, very powerful practice. When we run our attention through the body, we bring sleep paralysis. Now, after this, 2 things can happen. One is because of the paralysis, we go into a very deep state of relaxation. And the brain, we can make use of it when we want to. And the mind is alive and active and aware of what is happening. The second thing is we feel very sleepy. And we can't hold the state. Right? Don't fight with sleep. Turn on the right side and go to sleep. Because it is early morning time, the dream will start immediately. You won't fall into deep sleep. You will go straight into REM sleep and the dreaming will start immediately. Now, as you're falling into sleep, you're feeling sleepy, you can't hold your awareness, you're turning on the right side and going to sleep. At that time, make an inner decision that I'll wake up in the dream. I'll wake up in the dream. So you'll go to sleep, the dream will start, and if you're lucky, you'll wake up in the dream. You'll be aware of yourself, you'll be aware of the dream, and this is the beginning of dream yoga. Dream yoga, right? Now, I'll tell you because I was practicing this in the early 1990s. Those days we didn't, a digital watch was something very new in those days. So we had those winding alarm clocks, right? So what I did was, I would only wind it 1.5 times, not the full key. So it would just ring, tring, and then, right? And I would put it for 10 minutes after I've gone to sleep, right? So I know I'm feeling very sleepy, just put it for 10 minutes, you put it approximate, you don't get an exact 10 minutes in that. And I would fall on the right side, go to sleep, and after 10 minutes, just this much of alarm will ring, tring, and in the sleep, because I'm not gone into deep sleep, I'm still in that REM sleep, I'll realize this alarm is, what do you call, telling me it is that wake up in your dream, and you wake up in the dream and you start observing the dream, right? And that is how I did it in those days, but of course my teacher was always there to help me through all these stages which we were passing through. So, this is something which we can all do, and just the very doing of this will bring about a different attitude in the day, a different awareness in the day, practicing this dream yoga. So we get the, you see, what is the experience of waking up? What is the experience of waking up? We are sleeping and then we are awake. But in that in-between twilight, that in-between Sandhya, we don't have consciousness. We don't experience the movement of waking up from sleep. Can you get what I'm trying to say? When you wake up in the dream, you will experience this waking up. So on a mini scale, this is something like enlightenment, right? And one day you will wake up from this dream also, but you practice in that dream. Now, we talked about brain waves those days, a few days ago. I'll just repeat that. That in this REM sleep, we will pass through 4 to 5 different stages. The first is alpha, what we call as alpha. So normally this monkey is chattering all the time, right? And science calls this as the beta state, where the monkey is chattering all the time. When in this beta state, the brain is working at a frequency between 13 and 40 hertz per second. Right? So the cycles of the brain are moving at this speed. And especially when we are daydreaming, I may be dreaming that I'm in a castle or something, right? So when we are daydreaming, we are moving at that very fast beta state of the brain. Can you see how much of energy we are losing in daydreaming? Now, when we move into alpha, it goes from 8 to 13 hertz per second. So alpha, the first state you will experience as you move into these deep relaxed states is what is called as alpha. And alpha is a very powerful state where you can visualize your problems of life, visualize what is important today, and you will come up with a lot of solutions on that. The next state is the theta state, where the brain waves go from 4 to 8 per second. And here it's a very deep state, right? And then we can go into an even deeper state, which maybe the yogis call as samadhi, right? And that is 0 to 4. Now, when this happens, when you are moving into these deep, relaxing states, sometimes you may wake up with a jerk, right? Sometimes you feel you are falling, right? So, you may get different, or you may feel that somebody called your name. Nobody has really called your name. Or you may hear that, somebody is clapping like this. It's just a sound, but nobody has shut the door or nobody has opened the door or anything. And this happens because here in the medulla we have a kind of valve which shuts on and off. And sometimes when that valve shuts off, right, it opens with a bang and we get these kind of experiences. Another thing which is happening is that we have two, electrical fields inside. One, the electrical field of the subtle body, one, the electrical field of the physical body. Now, normally these fields are very close to each other. But when we are in any negative emotions, both the fields get stuck to each other. So when I am angry with you, both the fields are stuck to each other. But if I am calm and peaceful, there is a small gap between the two fields. And we can increase that gap up to 4 to 6 inches as we practice this. If the gap goes above 6 inches, then suddenly it wants to come back because then it can lead to death, right? So the body has a defense mechanism and it comes back, right? And so you feel you're falling or something. Nothing to worry about. This is just the defense mechanism of the body. Two things: either it is that valve or it is this happening. But if we are in that deep, relaxing state, then the Tibetans call this state as bardo, the conscious dream state, right? And in this state, we see our emotions taking different forms, right? So if I have a lot of anger, then that anger may come in some animal form to meet me. And I can watch it over there and be free of it also. Now, in the alpha state, we experience it many times when we are sleeping in the afternoons. And many people, if you ask them, did you sleep in the afternoon? And they'll say, no, I didn't sleep in the afternoon. And actually they did go to sleep. And that is because they were in this semi-state, this alpha state. So, I'm not going to go very deep into these different stages, but I want to just bring something else also over here, and then I'll stop and you can ask questions. Now, when we are in this deeply relaxed state, try to sense that in this physical body, bring about a sensitivity. There is some other body over here, right? Of course, if you go into the dream and you wake up in the dream, then you're seeing yourself in the dream. That is a subtle body which you're seeing in the dream. It is yourself as the subtle body, not your name, right? Okay. But if you don't go into the dream and you're still in this conscious state, then try to sense that within this body there is a body like water, which, it does expand and contract. And over a period of time, as you sense it, you will be able to expand it and also contract it. And then we'll talk about something else. But at least it will take a few months to really sense something inside, and you will really be able to sense that there's a different body over there. Now, take one more point. If I remember it again, I remember it just went away. That body which you see in the dream, that is the dream body, the scientists call dream body. And that dream body can also, it can fly in the air, it can expand, it can go through walls, everything. Now, we have a physical body, and we have what is called an etheric body. An etheric body is a kind of, it's called etheric because it looks like ether. Ether means, like fog or mist or something, dhumas. And it is an electrical body between the astral body and the physical body. All the chakras lie in the etheric body. Now, when we do mantra, when we do, say in the morning before we go back to sleep, we do 20 minutes of mantra, say you're practicing the Omkar, Om, Om, right? And the etheric body starts expanding. And then if you go into the dream state after that, the dream state becomes much more vivid if you have practiced 20 minutes of mantra and gone into what is called conscious sleep. Then it becomes much more easy to experience in that state and much more easy to act also in that state. Now for the first few months, 3 to 6 months, we don't want to do anything. Don't even think of interpreting your dreams, because I stopped talking about this for a few years because every day people will call me and say, I got this dream, what does it mean, and all that. And it became very difficult for me. So don't judge your dreams, don't interpret your dreams, just observe for 3 months, 6 months, right? Keep a dream journal. When you wake up, write down your dreams immediately, because in 5 minutes you're going to forget the dream, right? And make it a point to write down at least one dream every day when you wake up. And over a period of time, you will be able to work in your dreams. And my teacher always told me the real yoga happens in the dreams, because time and space compresses over there, right? So this is just a technique. I'll repeat that story which I told 3 years ago. Just give you an idea of how powerful the state is. The 6th Guru of the Sikhs, his name was Guru Hargobind Sahib. And Guru Hargobind Sahib had one disciple. And that disciple was the Raja of Saket Bhatti. He was a king. And the Raja, Amritsar at that time was just huts in Amritsar. And that was the place where Guru Hargobind Sahib was establishing his capital kind of thing. So the Guru used to live in Amritsar, and this Raja had every year he would go to stay a week with the Guru. Now this year, before going to the Guru, he would get a dream every night that he's not a king. He's been born in a low-caste home called a Chandal. So he didn't know, I'm going to wake up, he'd wake up, I'm a king, and why am I getting a dream that I'm a Chandal, I'm a low-caste? So then he went to spend a week with his Guru, and he sent his man to the Guru and he says, I want to meet the Guru. And the man came back, the Guru had said no. Again the next day he sent his man to, okay, I want to meet the Guru. And again next day he came no. The third day, early in the morning, the Guru's man came running. And Guru Hargobind Sahib, he loved to go hunting in the jungle. He loved to go for shikar. So, he says, the Guru is going for shikar, would you like to join him? So, they both went into the jungle. Now, during their meal, they were separated. And this king was following a path near a river. And there was a Chandal's hut over there. And when they saw him, although my father has come back from the dead, my husband has come back from the dead, and they all caught him and they made him sit there. And he says, I am not your husband, I am not your father. The person you cremated was your father a few days ago. I am the king of this place. Then, after some time, the Guru came. And the Guru, they all, touched the feet of the Guru. And the Guru said, he is not your husband or your father. And he says, so then they both were leaving. He says, you understood your dream. So, he says, no, I didn't understand. He says, in this life, you were supposed to pass through the karma of a Chandal. Right? But due to some blessing, you got the life of a king. But who will fulfill the karma of a Chandal? That you fulfilled in your 3-minute dream. And that is how you played out that karma of yours. So, what we are talking about is a very, very powerful technique. Try to inculcate it into your daily routine where you wake up, do your exercises, do at least 5-10 minutes of mantra yoga, then allow yourself to go back to sleep, relaxing the body throughout, right? Okay? So any questions on this now we can. I think this is what you wanted, or any questions, anything I've left out you can have. Yeah.
So if we go to bed at 9:30, for example,
Hmm.
what should be the routine? Like what time dinner, what time we do mantra, what time we go to bed?
No, you have to decide it from what time you have to go to office. You have to go back from there.
That's when we will do the recollection, right?
So
going
say
to bed.
you have to go to office, say at, I don't know what time people go here, but say 8 o'clock or so, right? Then you say I need 1 hour to get ready, so 7 o'clock. Half an hour for breakfast and whatever, so 6:30, right? So you have to wake up by 6:15, 6:30. Now you want to give 45 minutes at least to this state, remaining in this state. So if it is 6:15, if you go back 45 minutes, that is 5:30, right? And you want to get up and do something for 45 minutes to 1 hour. So 5:30 to 1 hour would be 4:30 or 4:45. So you get up at 4:30, you do your exercises, do mantra, and by 5:15, 5:30 you induce this conscious sleep paralysis. Either you turn on the right side and you keep an alarm to wake up after 45 minutes, or you remain in that state. And if you can remain in that state for 45 minutes, you will extract so much of rest that you will not be able to get from 4 or 5 hours of sleep also. That much of rest you will be able to extract from it. So that is how you will have to plan. Yeah.
Which type of mantras would you suggest?
The easiest mantra is Omkar, or the Gayatri mantra. Easiest mantra is Omkar. Are you practicing the Omkar?
No.
No. We did it last time, I think.
How will be the evening routine though? The evening before going to bed, like in the night time.
Try to eat little early, so you can do 15-20 minutes of mantra before going to sleep.
Okay.
What's the time?
7:10.
We still have some time. You want to do the Omkar? You practice? Do you see why you do the Omkar?
I don't do it regularly.
No, if you are going to practice, then I'll take it with you.
I think I do.
Yeah.
If you are going to put in that effort. Yeah, you won't be able to put it.
I was asking if he had any questions.
So, okay, I'll go very fast through it. We had done it, and last time we had taken this thing. That was the Omkar has 6 parts. The Bindu, which is the most important part. The half moon. The umbilical cord. Right? And the 3, which is A-U-M. A representing the cellular universe or Bhu, U representing the what you call molecular universe or Bhuva, and Ma representing the electronic universe or Swaha. Right? So our journey goes not from the Bindu to what you call, it goes from AUM to the Bindu. So we pronounce A not as but as A, right? So it will go like this, and we'll try to bring the sound right from deep below our navel. Don't take support of your chair, right? And you take a deep breath and you just take it from deep, bring it up. Okay, take a deep breath. Keep the mouth open, mouth open, mouth open. Again, take a deep breath. Again, take a deep breath. Now, when you breathe in, take a little from the mouth. So you go like this. So it'll be more easy to say the mantra. So take a deep breath, little from the mouth. And vibrate below the navel. Try to force the sound below the navel. Okay, now the second sound is oo. But it is pronounced in a different way. It is pronounced nasal. Nasal. So it is pronounced as if you're saying the English word on. English word on. So it will go not full on, right? So again, take a deep breath. Right. Try to vibrate the whole chest area. Try to vibrate the whole chest area. Take a deep breath. Sound is not. There must be a vibration, or there must be a tremor in the sound. Right? Take a deep breath. Again, take a deep breath. last sound is very easy, it's just humming at present, then we will change it later on. So it's just right? So we go Okay, now we put all three together. I and U will be short. You can say 4 seconds A or 5 seconds A, 4 seconds U or 5 seconds U, and then M as long as possible. When you finish the M, pull in your navel and your lower abdomen to push all the breath out. Right? So it'll go something like this. Right? Okay. Come on, take a deep breath. Little with the mouth. Move close the lips. Again, take a deep breath. Good. Good. So try to reach 20 minutes of this practice. Try to reach 20 minutes of this practice. It will change so many things in your life. Right? Just the very resonance, the very vibrations will change so many things. Like my teacher used to tell me, in your destiny it is written you cross the road and a truck was supposed to hit you. If you've done your omkar in the morning, you will go this way and the truck will go this way. Right? So that powerful this thinking. So please start with 5 minutes and slowly reach up to 20 minutes. Just one more point. In I who keep the mouth open. Don't as much open as possible. See, these are sounds of the animal world. So when a lion or tiger roars, you right? So it's I and U. They don't know how to say ma. No animal knows how to say ma. Right? Only man knows how to say ma. So you're rising from the animal world into the human world, and when you move into that bindu, we'll learn that later on, you move into the divine world. Right? So please practice this, then next time when we meet, we can go ahead from here. But if you don't practice it, I can't take you ahead from here. Right? Well, any other questions? Yeah.
So, it's often said that with Omkar there's but then there's also Om, like the whole thing. So some people chant Om, Om, Om. So that's not the way. And then the other...
Om is just what you call short form of Au. It's just a short form of Au.
And the other thing is that
But supposing you're saying the mantra, just a single mantra for something. So when you're saying Omkar, you do A, U, Ma. But supposing you want to say the Omkar before a mantra. Right, so the Gayatri mantra will go Om Bhu Bhuva Swa. So there you can say Om Bhu Bhuva Swa. Or you can even say this Om Bhu Bhuva Swa. Whichever. But there, when you're using it in front of a mantra, you're allowed to say it as Om, not to say it as this. Right?
And the other, in the past, there has been great caution that I have been told, okay, be careful with Omkar. Don't do it without guidance. It can change things very quickly. Or what, that I've been discouraged. So why is that?
See, if you've been practicing the refining for some time, I suppose you've reached a stage where at least you're not getting very low thoughts. You know, that I don't get a thought to take revenge on you. Now, if I'm still getting thoughts of taking a revenge on you, then I have to see at least those thoughts don't come in Omkar. Can you understand? So, if we are just aware that thoughts of excitement, thoughts of being violent to somebody, and normally I would suppose because you're practicing refining these thoughts, now they don't bother us any longer. Right? And even if the thought comes, it has no strength in it. It's just a passing thought. Right? So then there's no problem. But here I'm doing Omkar, right? You have hurt me in some way, and now I'm planning on how to give it back to you. Then I'm creating a big mess. Because now this very powerful sound vibrations are going somewhere else. In a different, I'm using them for a different purpose. So then I can you get it? Because I'm resonating sound. You know, sanskar, memory pattern, it is stronger than iron also. It cannot be broken by anything. So if you can think of an iron or steel sheet which cannot be broken by anything, the only thing which breaks it is either the light of consciousness or the resonance of sound. So in this, we are creating a resonance. Oh, there's a resonance involved. Oh, there's a resonance involved. And that resonance breaks all these embedded memory patterns which you had for so many lifetimes. Right? And that is why it's a very fast journey. So there is this, but if you're normally just a normal awareness that I don't want to bring any negative thoughts when I'm doing the Omkar is enough.
And is there a rhythm to it? Is there, should we have the 3SRB music to it?
No. Later on, when we just practice the Ukar, we will use the, Tanpura. So it will, so it'll go according to the Tanpura. The sounds of the Tanpura will help you, the strings, to practice that. But we don't do that just now, we do it later. Right? The Tanpura, when we study the law of octaves, right? When we practice that, we will see it gives a sudden jump to our journey, those sounds. And that is why the Ukar is the most, I won't say the most powerful sound, but the most rich sound of the three. It is the richest sound.
There's also a struggle because there's the drama of life, like you were saying, and then there's this pull also. This pull, the pull for, I want to do Omkar, you want to do 3S, you want to do refining, you want to increase refining, then you want to work in dreams, mantra. But in reality, there is truly a struggle. And so what happens is sometimes there are shortcuts taken. So I will do 10 minutes refining, or I'll do, so refining is every day, but then things sometimes get dropped. How like in our everyday, the way that we have with the kids and job and everything, how do you pack this in? Because every minute is an addition. So I say, okay, it's only 10 minutes. Then I say, okay, then it's only 5 minutes more. But then it becomes this massive thing that initially it's joyful, right? But I got to one point where it was a struggle and I had to back off.
Uh, so you plan your week, plan your week. And if by Monday to Friday you're what you call make a sort of capsule that you will do this Monday to Friday. And this is enough not to interfere with your normal living. Right? Then Saturday, Sunday you make a proper program. I want to practice conscious sleep, I want to do this, I want to do that. So even if you do that much, it is a lot. Now maybe every day you cannot do 20 minutes of Omkar, but you can do 5 minutes of Omkar. Right? But on Saturday, Sunday you can do 20 minutes of Omkar. Right? And go into conscious sleep and all that. So try to arrange it in that way where use your planning mind to plan out everything. You cannot do everything every day. There are people who are doing everything every day, but you can't do everything every day. So what is basic is the few refining exercises, a few minutes of rhythmic breathing, right? The gold nugget. The gold nugget is very important. Right? So this much is my daily capsule, and with 5 minutes of Omkar if I can. You work from home or you go to office?
No, I'm home.
You work from home. Then you can find 5 minutes even in the day to do Omkar.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be with your morning. You see? You get it? And then on Saturday, Sunday, you make a little longer program. Where you get up early and then you go back and you can even extend that sleep period from 45 minutes to 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So you see, in the end, we have to balance everything. And it is the intelligence of man which allows him to balance, which sort of brings him to balance. When we say the Gayatri mantra, we are saying, give me that intelligence to see, that is what we are asking for in the Gayatri mantra. No? So, but that intelligence, it awakens in the situations of life. Right? And in each life situation, if we can awaken that intelligence, then we are still on the meditative path. Right? We may not be doing anything also. But if the intelligence awakens, then everything is done for us. Right? Yeah.
So some people need more sleep, some people need less sleep, or they can extract more rest from less amount of sleep. So, is this something that we can work on? Can we work on?
You have to work on it. Try one thing, do 1 minute of exercise and go to sleep. And do it for 1 month and see whether you are extracting more rest from sleep or not. The quality of sleep will depend on the level of prana. And just by doing 6 exercises for 1 minute before going to sleep, you will push up the level of quality of prana. Definitely the quality of sleep has to be better. And what's the subject for tomorrow?
I think tomorrow we're doing refining exercise.
Yeah, somebody was going to come for refining.
Tomorrow people are coming for it. Okay.
I think he may not be able to come,
Who?
the person who requested it.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there's other people.
I think Rupa Ben had a topic about how to make our day-to-day, living as a fiery work field for the
Pardon?
PSL. How to make our day-to-day living as a fiery, force field.
We are very far from it. We are very, very far from fiery aspiration. When we gamble our life on it, then only fiery aspiration comes. When nothing else is important except this. Right? When you start trading in the stock market, then for all 24 hours the stock market is going on inside. Right? Similarly, when all 24 hours this is going on inside, then the fiery aspiration comes. It's very, very difficult. People, they'll say that I had guests, I could not come. I had a job, I could not come. Now, I remember once Mr. Tavaria was arranging a 1-year, what do you call, program of exercise for all of us. And somebody says, it's not possible, my job is at this time. He says, leave the job if you want to do it. So, now, he would never say something like, he always said that you balance everything with your job and all that. The thing is that, do we really want it? That is most important. And it's very difficult, very, very difficult. Somebody will say, I had guests, somebody will say, I had to go for a marriage, somebody had this, somebody that. And all these excuses we have been doing for a number of lifetimes. Nothing changes. Right? From that, to have that fiery aspiration that I want that truth, I want to experience that truth, and nothing else in my life. Om Satyam Param Dhimai. That truth. Then it happens.
No. Yesterday you mentioned that you are doing, you've been doing meditation for 13 years before you met your guru, and then then it changed you. So maybe whatever meditation you are doing or types of meditation that you did in the past did not work. So can you comment on that, or can you expand on that? So what was it that was not working, or what we should be worried about when we do meditation?
Do meditation, but breathe in rhythm. I'm not saying don't do anything. From my side, I know it is all useless. But that is my personal thing. Right? For me, I know this rhythmic breathing can take you across the waters of life. And there's no need to do any other meditation. Practice the rhythmic breathing as much as possible. But that is me, then I don't want to comment on others, because I went through so many gurus before meeting, and all those gurus have taught me something. So if I comment on their technique or anything, it would not be right for me. Right? So, but this is the simplest thing. The simplest thing. Now many people, they want to do Vipassana. Now I know, personally, there's nothing in Vipassana. It's a waste of time. But I can't tell you that. I'll say, okay, you do it, but breathe with the music at least. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, because then you're commenting on somebody else's technique. It's not right for me. But at a certain point, when you're standing on top of the mountain, then you look down, you can see everything together. When you see the car going on the highway, this is this was the past of the car, this is the present of the car, that is you see it all together. Right? So at a certain point in consciousness, all these techniques don't really mean anything. You're looking from the top of the mountain. But whatever you're practicing, I don't want to stop you from what you're practicing. But I can give you enough to practice all 24 hours. I have enough. If you really want to practice, I can give you enough of techniques to practice all 24 hours. Maybe 5 minutes more. When I went to my guru, he says, all I want from you is 6 minutes a day. And one time I was looking at him and saying that, what about 6 minutes for myself? Right? It's like that. Yeah.
So there's one other doubt or concern. So as you start doing this and you start seeing, okay, these are my priorities. Okay, this is what I want to do. This is kind of what I'm not so interested in anymore. Perhaps I had an interest before, now it's not so interesting. But many times in that, people start getting hurt also. Not intentionally, you're not trying to hurt them. So let's say there's birthday party, there's marriages, there's this, and there's something else that I have committed to, right? So how do you balance that also? You're not trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah. So you have to find an in-between pathway. I mean, you have to go for a birthday party, you have to go for the wedding, or whatever it is. And you have to find an in-between way out of it. Right? So, and that's where the intelligence comes in.
I can.
Mm.
So I usually tell, even when nothing is going on in my circle, I told everyone that I sleep at 9:30. So everyone knows that this person is going to sleep at 9:30. So if there is invitation, I'll just tell them, okay, what time is invitation? 8 o'clock, 8:30, I will come from 7, whatever is. If it is 7:30, I'll come from 7:30 to 8:15. Then I have to go back because I sleep at 9:30. So no one is hurt. You keep your relationship and everyone knows that, okay, this is your routine.
You have to find your own way. You have to find your own way.
Right.
When I was in college, I was 17 years old, 17, 18 years old. I was doing Osho's meditation, that is the dynamic meditation. And in Bombay how it is in the colleges, is party. And the parties go on till 5 o'clock in the morning. And so everybody's partying. So 5 o'clock in the morning I would come home. And the first thing I would do is the meditation. I would go to sleep. Right? And then I would go to sleep. Right? So that meditation was a 40-50 minute meditation. Do it and go to sleep. And then many times when I used to go to play tennis in the morning to the club. So I would do the meditation, just party the whole night, do the meditation, and then go play tennis and come back home and sleep after that. But those were different days. You're young, your understanding is different. But I don't remember dropping the meditation. Can you understand what he was asking which meditations you were doing? I don't remember dropping the meditation. Now you can say I came home at 1 o'clock, I won't do it tomorrow morning, I'll do it day after. Now it's a dynamic meditation because you're in one of the phases of the meditation for 10 minutes you have to jump and shout a mantra. And you're jumping and shouting and all that. So it was a dynamic form of meditation.
Tomorrow can we talk a little about Gayatri Mantra?
Yeah, tomorrow we take the Gayatri Mantra. No, tomorrow we are taking the refining exercise. Let's see if those people don't come. We take the Gayatri Mantra. The day after we take the Gayatri Mantra. Right? We take the Gayatri Mantra. It's very fascinating. Most fascinating of all the mantras. Shall we stop? Yeah, thank you.
So much.